Hello! I come second time round trying to record this. The dog will be squeaking. That was the wife on the phone. What's going off? Well, we're moving, hence the room being incredibly empty. You can see one box still over there, one picture there. There are boxes and bits here, there's paperwork there. I've got all the paperwork here. The room is very echoey because all my books are gone, all my bookshelves are gone, all my wardrobes are gone, everything's downstairs. There's like a half the house, well, a third of the house at the father-in-law's. There's actually a good chunk of it already at the house we've purchased because, well, purchasing. We're still waiting on the buyer. There's been a bit of a snafu with their solicitor not being very good. Poor girl really wants to move in here, and we really want to move in, but she's the end of the chain, so hopefully we can get a midweek date. We can move. The house can be empty. The chain can be completed while solicitors and everybody's in the office, and then the buyers can move into here at a weekend. They could just have it empty for a couple of days and then be done. So that's the plan. Now, this means I need to change some things around. And the first thing is my internet service, because it's the first thing I think of. And I don't think we're going to get it immediately. Now, what we've bought only has a BT connection. So I'm back onto ADSL. I don't like ADSL. I think the faffing with filters is really annoying. The flakiness of the copper, the amount of copper is going to be interesting to see because I don't know where the fiber gets to and then it turns to copper. I just don't know for this location. We are quite away, maybe a quarter of a mile from a road, and then we're up and into a private estate. So we are on a private estate, off a private estate, and I don't even recall if there's overhead wires or if they're underground wires. I just do not know. BT think they can give me 60 megabits, which will be interesting to see. Other people that use the same wires for that area only say they can give you 20. So I don't know how BT can say they give you 60. But I'm currently on, as you can see, Virgin. Now, this is a post I did on the 10th of November 2017. It's now the 18th of November 2018. Why is this important? Well, this was when I was paying for 100 megabit. And I wrote this piece of Python that you can get off GitHub. So you can go to github.com /zealous speed test with capital S .py, or you can just go to github /zealous and find that. And I ran these collective charts, and you can see I got downloads between 3.5 and 4 megabits. Yeah, 3.5 to 4 megabits, and uploads of between 1 and 2 megabits. This is when I was paying for 100. Yeah, 2.24 megabit up was the highest with a low of 1.2, and a consistent down of 3.5 to 4-ish. That was it. Things are not much better today, a year on, and Virgin do not care. They just do not give a damn. I have shown them this, and I go through to their call centre, and their call centre staff say, I can ping you. Yeah, you can ping me. Of course you can ping me. In fact, it's interesting because I go downstairs and they can't ping me because I've turned ping replies from my router off. So they can't ping me. But they say, I can ping you. No, you can't ping me. I can see you can't ping me. I see their ICMP packets coming in, and I see my router going, nah, not sending anything back to that. And they go, you are online. And I'm like, I'm not online. I'm just not online. I know I'm not. So fibs all round. Now today, I'm coming to use my internet and boot my machine, and it's incredibly slow. Like the machine, I'll open Chrome or I'll open bits and it freezes. And I'm thinking, why is my machine frozen? But my machine's actually still all active. It's still doing things. But some of these internet programs block. They actually take 100% CPU on 12 cores. You know, we're talking on 12 cores. They take 100% CPU on 12 cores for a few seconds. it is a little bit silly. And so I get this stuttery, pausing behavior. Now, it's almost at one time like they were waiting for hard drive or we were waiting for graphics responses. It's like I've taken every bottleneck out of the entire machine locally. The bottleneck is now talking to the other end. Now, obviously, I'm running a pfSense box downstairs that's got Squid, so I'm downloading bulk items whenever I want them. In the background, there's things going off, and there's caching, intermediate caching that speeds certain things up. But it's getting absolutely crazy how poor the internet service is. So when I move, is going to BT away from Virgin going to be a boon? Is it going to be better? That's an interesting question. It's a question I can't answer today, but I will be answering. I'm also going to be trying out the Linksys Velope system. I have a 3-node system free for review from the Amazon Vine Custom Review Program, so I'll be playing with that. The World of Warcraft server is still online. It is still active. It has been running, and I believe people have been enjoying it. If I just shuffle this out of the way, if I can shuffle this out of the way. Let's see if it's actually still running live. There we go. It is still active and live. So this has been running now for days and days and days. I did some tweaks and I'm working on tools for the back end stuff at the moment. So I've been working with boost signals to give me a better way of transmitting status back and forth between game objects. And I've been looking at improving the bot code. As you see, I've actually got a group here. Bit of mage action. He resisted! No! There we go. Ooh. I thought there was a staff. Come on. You can't carry anymore. It's an amount of junk we are carrying. Which I'll get rid of. No. Stuck inside. Actually, no, I'll keep the wolf. It's more useful. I'll get rid of that piece of stone. There you go. So, yeah, this has been running for days and days now. The bad memory is here. It is that stick that is bad, but they have to go in pairs into that machine. So I have this bad. Now, what's quite annoying is that when I ordered these are 2 GB pairs, so there's 4 GB in my hand. I bought them from the cheapest eBay seller there was. These were like £4, I think, delivered. All fine. And I got a pair, another pair that were broke. They came broke. So I already had 2 in the machine, and I was adding these 2, which are Samsung branded DIMMs. And they were fine for about 4 months, and they went wrong. But the pair that arrived were already broke. So I kind of have to ask myself, is it worth the risk of another £4? 4 quid's nothing. It may very well be worth it. So we'll see. So the server's the server. The other thing is, you see my camera. This is a 720p camera. It's a Logitech HD 720 something or other. I have this to review as well. So this is an Osdom webcam HD 1080p. So we'll have a look at this later. I mean, I love some of the Chinglish. Photographed function. Well, I took a picture of the buttons or something, did you? It means it can take a photograph. It can take a picture. It can take still. It's like, okay. Video recording or video chatting. But the symbol, I don't know if you can see this. I need to make this bigger. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. That's so confusing. So, can you see this symbol? Look at that. Can you see it? Oh, you can't see it. Come on, focus. Focus. Basically, it's like a little Pac-Man on shoulders, but there's Zs. There's Zs coming out his mouth. Zs. So, video chatting asleep to people, basically, which makes me really want to giggle. So I'll have a look at this. It's here. It's available in all territories. Again, free from the Amazon Vine Custom Review Program. let's have a quick peek. Packaged in there. There is a manual, but who needs a manual, right? And then it's actually boxed like this, so it's the wire. And it's actually smaller than I thought. Okay. So we have a little backrest, so it's meant to go on top of a screen. Now, I've got a screen that's got no bezel. That would go on top of there. It would, I think, just about hold on to there. This is a nice rubberized area just here, you see. There looks like there is a microphone in there. And I don't know whether that's focus. But the lens is directly exposed, so you see there's no forward, like this has got a cover over the lens. The lens is directly exposed there. That's the sensor directly in there. It's red, interesting. That one's blue. This one's red. The actual, I don't know if it's meant to be infrared or something, or if it's filtering out infrared to stop you seeing in the dark, which is a common trick with some of these. I don't know if you know that, but most webcams or certain brands of webcams, you can open them up and take out a little filter mesh, and the camera will then see in the dark. And it's a cheap way of getting an IR camera. Little do people realise. But there's a little bit of a weight in here. There's also a camera screw mount. You can see a standard screw mount in there. I could actually put that on something and start using it. So we'll see how good or bad this is a bit later. Again, I need to tidy up all this kind of stuff. So if I actually turn the camera this way, you can see that's a bag full of recyclables of all things I've opened to review. So there's no bookcase here anymore. There are no bookcases there anymore. There's just my box for my screen. The servers are still here, though they're under some clothes right now. But yeah, there's not a lot. There's nothing under the bed. It's just very, very empty. So, end of video. And before I go, so I have just posted on my blog that I went to my old uni again this week. I went Wednesday and had an evening where I presented who I was and some of my background experience. And the bit they were interested in was whether placement was worth it or not. Now, my placement I thought was very much worth it. Hello to anybody at Courtaulds Textiles or Claremont Garments or wherever else they're called now. Sarah Lee is what it was called when I left. But interestingly, 3 young ladies that spoke to me for a while, they asked me, can you learn to be a programmer? And it's an interesting question because anybody can learn to program. Anybody. You can pick up a book, you can learn to throw some code together, you can get a job done. A computer is nothing more than a fancy tool, a very complex tool. So what do they mean by can you learn to be a programmer? Well, I thought that they meant that they would get a job in programming and be successful at it and have a career in it, which is fine. But if you're having to learn some of this stuff, if you haven't gone out and already started playing about, if you're not already involved in open source projects or reading, GitHub projects or code projects, or, if you're not out there in the world doing tasks or writing tools that you need to solve problems for yourself, then are you a programmer? Are you doing yourself and the craft you're wanting to work towards a disservice by saying you're a programmer? If you're not interested in it, can you do it? Software is not alone in this. I mean, I have friends and acquaintances from the past that have trained into certain areas and then not liked it. One young lady that I went to school and college with, I believe spent 4 or 5 years training to be a midwife, qualified, and then didn't like it. So that's a big deal. You know, the National Health Service has spent a time giving you a bursary, getting you through university, getting you qualified, and then you don't do it. Software isn't like that, because software is a hard thing to put a value on. Now, if you look at software companies like Microsoft, they're worth billions of dollars. Google is worth billions of dollars. Their actual products are software. They aren't or weren't considered real things, but everybody knows what Google is now. Everybody uses Chrome, or pretty much everybody uses Chrome. It's sort of like 80% of the market share of browsers that visit my blog. And you think about this and you think, well, it used to not be a tangible thing. People couldn't, hold software in their hands. It came on plastic discs and it came in a box, but now it all comes across the wire. And so it became this ethereal thing, like trying to catch smoke in your fist, and you couldn't do it. And because it was intangible, people didn't understand how to give it a value, and likewise didn't understand how to give the skills to create that value. And I've worked in quite diverse groups. I've worked in groups where one person will be a horticulturalist, one person will be a material scientist, one person will be unqualified, they've self-taught effectively. And you think, of all these people, who actually decided X years ago that this is what they wanted to do? And that was me. I decided that, I have had a computer since I was 3 years of age. And I remember even before then, or even before I knew how to program, I would sit with a typewriter and just type things out. I'd just type out stuff that was in another book. And, I remember reading 10 print hello, 20 go to 10 in a book. I remember my father and my uncle Jeff taking all night long trying to type that one program in, and that's all they wrote. 10 print hello, 20 go to 10. And I thought, they aren't cut out for this. But I got it. I remember doing the same thing at school. We were being shown a BBC Micro, and the teacher was typing on it. And I admit to this day that he was typing upside down. Yeah, but I could type upside down and still see what was going off. And I said, "Sir, do you want me to do it?" And he got really narky with me. I was about 7. I said, "Do you want me to do that?" And he was like, "No," because I was 7 and he was an adult. But I could have typed it in 10 seconds flat and got something out of the session that maybe no one else in that room did. And I remember that to this day. I remember the school getting their first Acorn computers with a mouse. And I'd already had an Atari ST at home, so I knew exactly what a mouse was. I was like, it's a mouse. So they'd let me show kids how to use the art package and how to print things out. I remember when I went to college, for some god unknown reason, they made me do a bridging course because I'd not done CIT at GCSE level, but I took to programming like a duck to water. I remember years later, my brother doing exactly the same A level as me, and he'd come and I wrote his coursework for him in seconds because I could just write a synchronous updating clock on the screen for him and things. And he was like, "Oh, it's doing my menu and updating the clock." I'm like, "Yeah, of course it is." And that carried on into university. Now, I specialised in software engineering. It's what I did, to the detriment of other parts of my course. If you're a student today doing the same thing, if you're struggling to program, if you find it a chore to pick up a language and do something with it, ask yourself, are you happy doing it? Are you content doing it? Or is it a struggle? Are you interested in other parts of it? Are you interested in the media side? Are you interested in the presentation side? Are you interested in, data analysis, or putting actual PCs together or server blocks together rather than the nuts and bolts of the software? Now, I'm also interested in the hardware side of things, but you may be different to me. I certainly am not interested in the business side of things. I'm not particularly interested in model view model stuff. I'm interested in collecting data, collating data, looking for patterns, and software request response work. So things like the game server. I request to press a spell button, the server gets that spell, acts upon it, and works out the random chance of it killing or not killing, or hitting or not hitting the non-player character, or even the player character. And I found that the young ladies I spoke to didn't have any of these clues or any of these guides. they were completely lost. One of them's idea was a great idea. They wanted to work for Apple. I presume because they use Apple equipment, because they talked about video editing on an Apple. But everything was done for them. They already had a video editor. They already had ways of collecting data. They had a phone, an iPhone in their hand to take video with. They didn't have to try to do anything. Well, of course, when I picked up a computer, so many years ago, if you wanted a program to collate the kills in a game, which I wrote for Frontier Elite 2, by the way, you had to write your own program to collate the kills you'd made in that game. You had to write your own ladder. When I started playing competitive online multiplayer first-person shooters, we wanted a player league. Well, you had to write your own player league. I had to write my own CGI and do it that way. And that art of I need to create my own has gone. There are still obviously the hardcore of them out there, people on GitHub hosting their own projects, people wherever doing their own thing. But 90 times out of 100, there are people going and just downloading what already exists, using whatever's already there. And that's fine. But if you're a software engineer and you're using someone else's library, make that mental note to go back and just think, I want to learn about that product. I've recently used Tesseract. I desperately want to find time to go back and look on how to train it better, how it actually did that work. Is it better or worse than passing it through, or the OCR through some sort of Google AI, or writing my own neural network or something to do it differently? And that's where my passion demonstrates itself. And I think there's a little spark missing at the moment where people are handed something on a platter and so they forget these older skills. And it's always happened, always happened. I mean, I happily use a wooden desk, but I couldn't tell you how to work the carpentry, to work the joints and do all the dovetailing and get a desk to be created. But I love to use it. And I think I appreciate that I couldn't do this. I couldn't be a carpenter. Not everybody considers that they couldn't be a programmer.